This is the Dartmouth Conservation Commission, and this is a duly noticed meeting. It's a special meeting to discuss the proposed Town of Dartmouth Wetlands Protection Bylaw regulations. We're conducting this meeting remotely as a result of Governor Healy on March 29, 2023, further extending the hybrid remote meeting option for municipalities. And that extension goes until March 31, 2025. So with that, I'd like to say that the Conservation Commission has discussed, reviewed, and edited the proposed bylaw regulations. And we're now very interested in getting public comments relative to the proposal. With that, the meeting is declared open. Is there anyone that wants to be heard on this topic?
Just as an update to the commissioners present, the public notice that was posted in mid-December, and I believe this was carried through in all the social media posts, was that we were requiring any written comments to be received by the office no later than Friday, December 27th, 2024. We have received no written comments up to December 27th, 2024, and there have been no late arriving comments since then.
So we we don't have anything in writing from any citizen having a question, concern, or alternate proposal in writing as requested. And I've also opened the floor to anyone wishing to speak on the bylaw regulations, and I have heard none. I'm satisfied that the last version of the bylaw regulations that was circulated are acceptable. But any commissioner have any concern or question they want to air at this time? I don't see any. So at this juncture, I think it's appropriate to entertain a motion to approve the Town of Dartmouth Wetlands Protection Bylaw regulations as circulated. I don't have a date on this iteration, Mark. I don't know if you do.
You're not as well. Let me see. It is the December 2024 draft.
Okay, so the December 2024 iteration. I'll entertain a motion to approve Town of Dartmouth Wetlands Protection Bylaw regulations iteration of December 2024.
Right, I make a point of order before we vote.
Sure.
That's fine that we approve them, but the next step is to move this over to town council and then subsequently to the select board at some later date. So I would ask the chair to amend the motion to approve to pass forward to town council.
Okay, I can do that, but I suppose though that we're approving it from our standpoint. I realize there is a process, but then it can move on to town council.
Okay, however you want to do it.
Yeah, I
just don't want that lost in the motion.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand the process. Thank you for bringing it up. I think maybe there'll be two motions, but the first one well, maybe I will amend my motion. That I'll entertain a motion to recommend the approval of the Town of Dartmouth Wetlands Protection Bylaw regulations, iteration December 2024.
So move.
So move.
Second. With seconded motion, roll call vote. Liz?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Nat?
Yes.
My vote is yes, that passes unanimously. The second will be a motion to authorize Mark Garrett to forward our recommendation and the December 2024 iteration of the Town of Dartmouth Wetlands Protection Bylaw regulations to Town Council.
So moved.
Second,
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz?
yes.
Megan?
yes,
Nat?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone, for hopping on. We do have a 7 o'clock meeting, so you'll have just about enough time to wolf down a sandwich and get a cold beverage or a warm beverage in that case, because you should get some tea and honey. That'll help you a lot.
You're right, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, can we handle the discussion items now? Since they technically are not scheduled for time? Get them out of the way so we're not dealing with those at the end of that night.
Yeah, I guess from a procedural standpoint, we're not going to commit any major felony here, even though it's on the agenda for the 7 o'clock meeting. The only concern I have, if anybody wanted to see what we said, they have no right to participate. So you're correct. It's not a public participation part of our meeting, but I don't have a problem. If everyone's agreement, we can do that, and it'll make the 7 o'clock meeting that much shorter.
So
Any
moved.
Fine by me.
Okay, so let's go to our items for discussion. And I didn't see anything on there relative to bills, so I'm assuming we're not paying a bill. And we do have enforcement
Well,
issues.
we did pay a $43,000 bill, but that was a town meeting appropriation. We did get out finally after almost 2 years. We did get our four-wheel drive pickup, toolbox, and lettered vehicle that allows us now to go off-road as we have needed to do several times in the past 2 years, but could not. So there is a conservation vehicle, but that was funding through the town meeting, the fall town meeting of 2023. Therefore, there was no need to authorize through the commission. That money was set in a separate account, but that's an FYI for you guys. And we did, at my insistence, we did put, Mike O'Reilly we went generic. We had vehicles that didn't say anything. We had the municipal plates, but we didn't say anything on the vehicle. This pickup truck is a white pickup truck. It has two Town of Dartmouth seals on the doors. And then on the rear quarter panel in forest green, it says conservation. So when we drive down the street, they know who we are this time around. So, and all of that, the toolbox, the lettering, and the truck all fell within the town meeting allocation budget.
Okay. I guess we have an enforcement issue.
We do. I listed it under enforcement. We got a complaint through DPW about some work up at 1342 North Hicksville Road, which is an old auto salvage site that was recently sold. Both Eduardo and I have been engaged with the current property owner. I guess if we look at it in totality, there are many violations out there, but many of these were predating wetland law and therefore non-enforceable. There are a few that are enforceable. We have contacted the property owner. He is coming in on Thursday morning at 9:30. We have conducted a couple of site visits and I did a timeline analysis using aerial photography, and I think we have a potentially equitable solution to bring this site into regulatory compliance given the timing of activities on the site. So that's just an FYI for everybody.
All righty. Okay, go. I'm sorry.
Well, there's a second item that did not make the agenda, and I believe, Mike, you and I discussed this. late last week, we received an email from the select board office. We have an individual by the name of James Fitzgerald Reardon who has applied for one of the Conservation Commission vacancies. His background is he has an environmental science degree. He currently works for a nursery landscaping operation. He is a foreman on one of the nursery crews. He appears to be well versed in nursery techniques and the like. And at this point, we are thin on numbers. And anybody who, any one of you who can't make it, we do get in jeopardy. So my recommendation is to put together a small group, to interview this person, to make a recommendation to the select board when they interview him for ultimate approval and appointment to the commission. So that would be my recommendation.
When do you want to set up the interview?
December 2024.
No. I know that's in a wonderful fantasy land here, but in reality, given the fact that we can't go back in time, how soon are we looking for this?
As soon as we can put together a small group. I mean, this week, next week, I think would be appropriate. I don't know when the select board necessarily meets. Our next meeting is February 11th. That gives us 3 weeks. I don't know if person would be appointed by then, but we do have some time to work with. But I would say in the next 2 weeks.
Well, I don't know if the select board's meeting this upcoming Monday, but I'd be willing to do a Zoom interview if we can do it that way on Friday or Thursday of following week or Friday of the following week. But those are my 3 available days.
So you're talking the 30th or the 31st.
Yeah, or this Friday, if he could do it, that we can do it that.
I'm not going to be able to do it this Friday.
Okay, so the 30th or the 31st would be my availability.
Okay. I can be available for those 2 days. Do we want anybody else on the commission? I think another set of eyes is also good.
I could be available Friday morning and potentially Thursday, depending on what time you guys settle on.
What's
Yeah,
good for
same.
you? What's good for you on Thursday night?
Right now, my afternoon looks good.
Okay. My recommendation, Mark, would be to reach out to Mr. Reardon and see if he can be available either Thursday, the 30th in the afternoon, or Friday, the 31st in the morning.
Will do. Do we want to vote on it? Who's going to be in attendance? Do we want
I'll be
to?
in attendance. Those are the times that Nat's available. Has anybody else expressed an interest? I didn't hear anybody.
I
but
can be
could-
there too. Both of those
Okay.
days work. Yeah.
Perfect. So Megan's going to be available as well.
Liz, did you say you were going to be available?
I certainly can be. My Thursday is pretty wide open. Friday, it'll be depending if we shoot for Friday and I don't have a meeting, I could be there. If not, then Thursday would be the better one for me.
All right. Well, let's try Thursday
Yep.
as our preference, and if there's some inability of Mr. Reardon to go Thursday, then ask for Friday.
Yeah, I
That
will,
way
I
we-
will, I will reach out to him, say Thursday, and we'll get a time and then I'll get it to you folks. And if you can respond to me, then we'll be able to set it up and we'll know who's going to be there and what we're going to do.
Well, it looks like we have everybody that says they'll go that'll be available Thursday afternoon, and Liz was a maybe on Friday morning, but Nat and I both said that would be good as well. So I think
Yep.
it's really up to Mr. Reardon to decide which of those
Right.
times he wants.
Right, but we still are a week and a couple of days out, so things can change. But yeah, I'll do that and I'll reach out to you once I know what he can do.
Very good.
All right.
Okay.
Those were the only items I had.
I have nothing else. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this special meeting, and we're going to reconvene with the opening of public hearing for our normal 7 o'clock meeting at 7 o'clock.
Sounds good.
Have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second,
We have a second in motion. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes.
Nat,
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. See you at 7.
See you then.
At 7 o'clock, I'm going to call to order the Dartmouth Conservation Commission's meeting for Tuesday, January 21, 2025. On March 23rd, 2023, Governor Healy signed a further extension of the HabRed remote meeting options for municipalities that extended the ability to do so until March 31, 2025. Our public hearings are accessible to the public, and we do have a raise your hand feature, wave your hand feature. We did duly post this meeting on our website at Town Hall, so we're conducting this meeting in accordance with Massachusetts laws and the Town of Dartmouth bylaw. We have a quorum this evening of 4 commissioners, so actions taken will require an affirmative for vote. First items are going to be administrative, and the first is to approve the minutes of December 17, 2024. May I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second,
Second on it. We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Nat,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Liz.
yes.
My vote is yes. Excuse me. That motion passes unanimously. Second is to approve the field trip report of January 7, 2025. May I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
We have a
Second,
seconded motion. Roll call vote. Megan,
Yes.
Liz,
yes.
Nat.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. The third administrative item is to receive the minutes for January 7, 2025. May I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second,
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes.
Nat,
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. That concludes the administrative. We're now moving on to our field trip reports. And the first is a request for certificate of compliance, DEP file 15-2599, RCC 2441, from Sarah Liederman for a single-family home addition on land described as map 7, excuse me, lot 28, otherwise known as 124 Mission Point Road. Mark, what is staff's recommendation on the request?
This first COC is going to be handled by Eduardo.
Eduardo, interesting to hear you do this. I want to hear your comments on this request.
All right, so we conducted a site visit and it appeared that all the work that was done was in compliance with the plan that we have on record. Therefore, our recommendation is for a complete certificate of compliance.
Thank you very much. Does any commissioner have any questions of Eduardo? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue a complete certificate of compliance for DEP file 15-2599.
So moved.
Second,
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes.
Nat,
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. The second field trip report is also a request for a certificate of compliance. This is on DEP file 15-2491, RCC 25-2 from Richard Rayum for Windsong LLC or Brian Storer for permitted work that was never completed on land described as map 125 lots 19-1 to 19-7. It's otherwise known as 0 Jason Drive. Again, staff's recommendation on this request, please.
Okay, I'm taking this one, Mr. Chairman. This was a long protracted filing way back when, and ultimately none of the work got done. We did a site visit last week, and the woods are still the woods with no obvious impacts or activity within them. I am aware that there is a buyer for this site who may have some other design options that are different than what were approved in this permit. So Windsong has requested to issue a complete COC since no work was done. Staff concurs. So staff recommends the issuance of a complete COC on file number 152491.
Any commissioner have any question? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue a complete certificate of compliance on DEP file 15-2491.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
please. Seconded motion, roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Nat? Nat?
Sorry, yes.
Okay, and my vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Our third field trip report is also a certificate of compliance request. It's for DEP file 15-2497, RCC 24-40 from Miguel Linera for the construction of several commercially sized ground-mounted solar arrays on land described as map 60, lots 2, 2-3, 4, 14, and 19. It's otherwise known as 451 Highland Avenue. Again, staff's recommendation on this request, please.
Yes, this was another very protracted filing started by Borrego Solar. It was sold and then resold, and the ultimate owner operator is a company called Mill Creek Renewables. Miguel Linera is representing Mill Creek Renewable on this. I have to admit, for such a large-scale solar project, this got off to a very rocky start. But I have to commend Mill Creek Renewable. They got everything under control, and we conducted a site visit and a site meeting back in the mid-December, and the site looks really quite good, in compliance with the plan of record. And frankly, for the record, this particular site is probably the best looking commercial solar that I've seen in the town of Dartmouth. So staff heartily recommends a complete COC on this.
Thank you, Mark. Does any commissioner have any question? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue a complete certificate of compliance on DEP file 15-2497.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. We'll have a roll call vote, please. Nat,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. The fourth field trip report and the final field trip report is a request for determination of applicability from the town of Dartmouth for the removal and replacement of existing propane tanks within land subject to coastal storm flowage and a modified coastal dune, and within the 100-foot buffer zone to coastal beach land and land under the ocean. It's on land described as map 90, lot 10, otherwise known as 231 Smith Neck Road. What is staff's recommendation on this request for determination of applicability?
Yes, this is a proposal by the Parks and Recs Department for Round Hill Beach. They need to replace a 30-year-old propane tank, which is in and around the restroom bathhouse facility out on the beach. And that is situated on a modified coastal dune and a fairly stable coastal dune and within other resource areas and buffer zones. They are also proposing to add a service for a current vendor who is who they license every year, a food vendor in the area. Currently, they have to do remote supply, but town wants to give them the opportunity to have it on site. It's a minimal ditching right along the sidewalk of the bathhouse, and then the service is just off the existing path. It is in an area that undergoes a certain amount of impact due to normal beach traffic and normal beach use. It certainly is a necessity given the age of the tank, the existing propane tank, and with that, staff is recommending a -2 determination with our standard erosion control condition to move this project forward.
Thank you, Mark. Does any commissioner have any question? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to issue a -2 determination with our standard erosion control conditions on the application from the town of Dartmouth.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Megan,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Nat?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. That concludes our field trip reports. We're now moving on to our public hearings. And our first is a continued public hearing on DEP file 15-2757 NOI 24-46. It's on notice of intent from Anthony Capuano for PRM Auto Holdings LLC to construct the 39,129 plus or minus gross floor area square foot car dealership and an accessory detached car wash with associated driveways, parking, auto carrier loading spaces, stormwater management measures, utility infrastructure, and landscape improvements, and also proposes an area to the east of the intermittent stream to be graded and paved to accommodate auto carrier loading spaces accessed separately from Ventura Drive. This is all on land described as map 63, lot 12, otherwise known as 411 Faunce Corner Road. For those who may know, it's the former Rose Motors site. Entertain a motion to waive the reading, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Nate, Megan,
Yes.
Nat?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. There's a note here that it's anticipated there'll be an email request for continuance until February 25, 2025. Was such an email received?
Yes, and it was forwarded to the commission. Let me give you a little bit of background. This project has a fair amount of distance to go before it meets any level of approval. They will not be heard by the planning board on their site plan review, their continued site plan review, I should say, until January 27th, which made it foolish for us to hear this and approve it, given the fact that we don't know that the site plan will be approved. And one of the reasons it hasn't been approved yet is that there are questions related to the survey. There are questions related to the engineering department's drainage review. Our own third-party peer review for drainage also raises very many of the same questions that DPW has raised. There was a somewhat curt discussion between myself and one of the property owners relative to the suggested deed restriction. I won't go into the details, but that phone call did not end very well. However, the other partner called me immediately after, apologizing, said that the discussion should never have taken place, that they are in favor and are working towards crafting that deed restriction language. I thanked the second owner for interceding as he did. Suffice to say, my suggestion to them was not to try to race to get this done by the 11th. I think they've got a fair amount of work to do. I suggested that they request a continuance to the 25th. They thought about it and agreed, and that's what they have requested. My recommendation is to issue the request for continuance until the 25th. I did tell them, I said, this has been protracted now going on 4 months into the 5th month. This is a little long for a project. I realize it's a complicated project, but the I should have been dotted and the T should have been crossed a long time ago. We're still having some basic issues with, the project on multiple levels. So that's my recommendation.
Okay, so any commissioner have any questions? For those who are watching this, there is a request to continue, but if you're here this evening for this matter, and you wish to be heard tonight, please raise your hand or let us know. I don't see anybody. So at this juncture, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing until February 25, 2025 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Nat,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That passes unanimously. The second public hearing is a continued public hearing, DEP file 15-2709, AOOC 24-3. It's a request for an amended order of conditions from the Pascomanset Land Company to modify the following features on the current plan of record, and that's FN 15-2709, to include reducing the size of the infiltration basin to modify the steel orifice plate at the outlet control structure and the basin's underground utilities. Additional work also includes the installation of a portion of the parking lot, catch basin, drain manhole, and riprap flared end section associated with the underground infiltration system. The existing infiltration basin located on the westerly side of the property will be expanded, as well as modification of the steel orifice plate within the outlet control structure on land described as map 65, lot 34-5. It's otherwise known as 481 Faunce Corner Road. I entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Nat,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Is there someone here this evening on behalf of the applicant?
Joe, you're muted. You got to unmute.
Sorry, I apologize. It wasn't letting me unmute at first. But good evening, Mr. Garrett and members of the commission. My name is Joseph Sanda with Allen & Major Associates. I'm here on behalf of my client, Pascomanset Land Company, in relation to an amended order of conditions application for 481 Faunce Corner Road. With the permission of the commission, I would like to share my screen.
Please do.
Thank you. It's saying that it's disabled at the moment.
DCTV, if you can allow Joe to please share his screen.
You should be able to now.
There we go.
Very good. Thank you.
Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just to reiterate, the project is located on 481 Faunce Corner Road. The proposed project is a residential apartment building. The amendments for the order of condition include the expansion of the westerly basin, along with the modification of the steel orifice plate on the outlet control structure, the reduction of the infiltration basin on the easterly side of the site, also modifying the outlet control structure orifice plate. There is a riprap flared end section for discharge from the underground infiltration system, and some basic site development work within the buffer zone, including some grading, the parking lot, a small portion of the underground infiltration system, and some drainage structures. At this point, we have received approval from DEP and got sign off from them, as well as an approval through site plan review by the planning board. At this point, I'd like to open it up to the commission and Mr. Garrett for any questions or comments.
Oh, I have a quick question. Why is there a request for modification? What's changed in the proposal that requires modification?
So the original order of conditions that was issued was for the site on the northern side of the access road, the Fallon Medical Building. Within that order of conditions, it explained the underground infiltration system and the construction of this infiltration basin on the easterly side. We decided to take a multi-phase approach to the project, and for the design of the medical office building on the northern side of the access drive, we accounted for the stormwater for this proposed project through the design process and modifications to the site. We've had to reduce the size of the basin. Because of the reduction of the easterly basin, we expanded the size of the westerly basin, and then we had to do some modifications to the steel orifice plates in order to control the stormwater runoff and be within the stormwater standards.
Thank you for that explanation. Mark, if you, or Eduardo, if you would like to give us staff's comments on this request, I'd appreciate it.
I'm going to handle the public hearings. Yeah, this has been another project that's kind of been protracted. There was a lot of back and forth on the drainage between the engineering department of DPW and the applicant as it related to site plan review. They finally came to an agreement back in December, and the project moved forward through site plan review. There were some additional questions issued by planning board that were subsequently resolved. There was a plan set dated December 23rd, which met just about all the requirements. However, the cover sheet, the notes were not consistent with what was in the plan set. So they submitted a new revised set, which everybody has signed off on, dated January 13th, 2025. The only revisions are, in fact, the cover sheet. The content sheets within the packet have not changed. They're consistent with the December 23rd filing. So I will recommend approval based on the January 13th plans. But again, all it was nomenclature on the cover sheet that caused the revision of the plan set, even though the plans themselves did not change. Having said that, there have been several iterations on the underground infiltration basin, which is that large gray rectangular area immediately north of the building. That configuration and design has changed several times and now meets stormwater standards as per the engineering department at DPW. Having said all that, staff is prepared to recommend a standard order of conditions as modified by adding 4 additional conditions. Condition 41. Aside from the work authorized under this order, no additional activities of any type shall occur within 25 feet of the delineated wetland line of record established under this order, unless authorized in the future by the commission or an agent. Special condition 42. All unstable ground shall be seeded with a standard wetland or erosion control seed mix as per the conditions. When using seed mixes of any type or source, the Conservation Commission shall require all sowing of seed to be at the specified density and aerial coverage recommended by the supplier. Special condition 43. The Conservation Commission shall require the minimum woody plant specifications for all shrub sizes of no less than 3 to 5 gallon pots or balls, as opposed to any size specification presented on the plan of record. No planting shall block any maintenance access along the crest of either detention basin. Special condition 44. All plantings that fail to survive through the first winter or the first full growing season for any reason shall be replaced by the applicant or their successors or assigns. These standard conditions and additional conditions are being recommended as per the plan of record revision 7 dated January 13th, 2025.
Thank you. Does any commissioner have any questions of either staff or the applicant? I don't see any. Is there anyone in the audience this evening that wants to speak on this application? I don't see any, but I also.
Joe, can you take your plan down just so we can, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, he just did that. Thank you. Appreciate that. I don't see any. So at this juncture, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So
So
moved.
move.
Might have a second on that motion, please.
Second.
We have a seconded motion to close the public hearing. Roll call vote. Nat,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
I'm a yes as well, so that's unanimous. Commissioners, the public hearing's closed. We've heard staff's recommendation and the presentation, so I'll entertain a motion to issue a standard order of condition based on the plan last iteration dated January 13, 2025, modified by 4 conditions. Conditions 41, 42, 43, and 44 as read into the record by Mr. Garrett.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Nat,
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Joe, thank you for a good presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garrett and members of the commission. Have a good night.
Good night.
Take care, Joe.
Our third public hearing is public hearing on DEP file 15-2766. That's NOI 24-54. It's on the notice of intent from Jeffrey and Suzanne Parker for a detached accessory apartment and upgraded subsurface disposal system within land subject to coastal storm flowage. It's on land described as map 90, lot 9, otherwise known as 19 Meadow Shores. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading, please.
So move.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Megan,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Nat,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Is there someone here this evening on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Alan Haru, and I'm going to ask for a postponement or continuance of this public hearing, but let me just briefly present the project, and because we have not received comments from the Board of Health yet, and I think that's important. So for this hearing, I'm here on behalf of Jeffrey and Suzanne Parker. They're owners of a single-family house at 16 Meadow Shores Road. The lot is located in land subject to coastal storm flowage, flood zone AE, elevation 19, mean sea level. And we propose to construct an accessory apartment building in place of an existing accessory building on the lot, and an associated upgraded subsurface sewage disposal system. The record plan is entitled Subsurface Sewage Disposal System, dated December 30th, 2024, and the DEP file number is SE 15-2766. So as I said, we were unable to get everything together over the holidays and get the plan into the Board of Health, and I'd like to get their approval because it is a system designed in accordance with Title V. We've done the required soil investigations and topographic survey, et cetera, and I'm aware that some of the abutters have some concerns that I'm confident we can respond positively to, but I'd like to get the comments from the Board of Health. So I respectfully request a continuance until your meeting on February 25th to give us time to submit the plan to the Board of Health and receive their comments and respond positively to their comments as well as those of the abutters.
Thank you, Alan. That seems like a reasonable request, and I think also something that's prudent in this matter. Mark, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I do. I'm not going to speak in favor or in opposition to the project as Alan has summarized it. And he did speak to me about the Title V issues and told me he was going to request a continuance. We did receive comments from the Seymours, who are direct abutters. I forwarded them to the commission as well as Alan. And I did indicate to them that they were going to request a continuance and would probably be granted. They are not here tonight, so to be fair to the Seymours, I am not going to make any general comments on the project until we reopen, should you continue on the 25th.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience or any commissioner that wants to speak to this issue, this matter, excuse me, at this time? I don't see any. So I believe that the request for a continuance until February 25, 2025 is a valid request, and I think a prudent one given the fact that they're waiting to hear from Board of Health. I would entertain a motion to continue this matter until our Conservation Commission meeting on February 25, 2025 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Nat?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Our fourth public hearing is on DEP file 15. Is there an actual file?
There is
on
no file number as of this date.
And how about the
I
next one?
checked at 7 o'clock tonight,
Okay.
right before we came on.
What about the one that follows? Does that have a number?
There is not a file number for that either.
Okay, so we don't have a DEP file number for the next two public hearings, which means we can't end them tonight and vote. We have to continue them. But anyway, I'll proceed. So we're on with NOI 25 or 24, excuse me, -55. It's a notice of intent from Catherine Dias and Daphne Savarine for a house and barn renovation with an upgraded subsurface. Second here. That's just a scam call. Sorry about that. From an upgraded subsurface sewage disposal system within land subject to coastal storm flowage, riverfront area, and buffer zone to a coastal bank. It's on land described as map 28, lot 78, otherwise known as 30 Horseneck Road. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Megan?
Yes.
Liz?
Yes.
Nat?
Yes.
My vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Is there someone here this evening that wants to begin the presentation on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, again, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. For the record, my name is Alan Haru. For this hearing, I'm here on behalf of Catherine Dias and Daphne Savarine. They're owners of a single-family house at 30 Horseneck Road. The lot is located within riverfront area along the Slocum's River and land subject to coastal storm flowage flood zone AE elevation 12, mean sea level. We propose to lift the existing historic house and construct a new foundation in accordance with FEMA regulations. The foundation plan was prepared by Rick Sharon. The first floor of the house will be raised approximately 3 feet. Thus, we propose some stone steps from the existing driveway up to the house, the house will be renovated. Also, we propose to renovate the barn with a new roof, siding, windows, and doors. The record plan is entitled Site Plan, dated December 30th, 2024. The septic system plan has been approved by the Board of Health and is dated March 15th, 2024. We propose an erosion control barrier between the work area and the river. And I'm happy to answer your questions. Unfortunately, we don't have a file number, so I understand this will need to be continued until your next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Mark, I know we're likely going to vote to continue, but are there any issues that you would like addressed this evening that you want Mr. Haru to know about, so they might incorporate those or contemplate those?
It has no issues at this time.
Okay. Any commissioner have any question? Is there anyone in the audience tonight that came for this meeting and wants to be heard on it?
Mr. Clear.
I'll recognize him.
Good evening. My name is Gregory Clear. I live at 100 Horseneck Road, just down the road from the project. I simply want to contribute my support to this project. Were this a new construction on virgin property, it would be an entirely different situation. However, that building has been there and occupied for, 100+ years. It's almost part of the nature of the town. And it certainly behooves us as a community to support it. So here we have some people who want to do the renovation. I know they've been contacting historical renovation house people, et cetera, et cetera. So I simply encourage the commission to support them and grant them the necessary permits and conditions that they need to complete the project. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's not too often we get people coming out to support their neighbors. It's a refreshing change in my view, and I appreciate your outlook on this. Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard? Okay, I don't see anyone else. So at this juncture, and I think, it's appropriate that we continue. Alan, do you have any idea when you might have that DEP file number? Would it be enough to say until our February 11th, or do you want to push this?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, the DEP received it. I have the certified mail return receipt on January 2nd. And this morning I emailed Brendan DaCosta and Mason Rada at the DEP. I was hopeful we'd get a file number, but they should certainly issue a file number before February 11th.
Well, I would hope so too. And I think a request for a continuance until February 11, 2025 is in order on this matter. And I will entertain a motion to that effect, a motion to continue this matter until February 11th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion, seconded motions on the floor. Roll call vote. Nat,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Our fifth public hearing is again without a DEP file number. It's NOI 25-1. It's on the notice of intent from the Midas Realty Corporation for the resurfacing of an existing bituminous concrete parking lot with associated drainage and water quality improvements within bordering land subject to flooding, riverfront area, and the buffer zone to land underwater and inland bank. It's on land described as map 167, lot 74, otherwise known as 276 State Road. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion on the floor. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Nat,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. We were anticipating an email request for continuance until our February 11, 2025 meeting. Mark, did that email request come in?
Yes, that email was received and it was forwarded to the commission last week.
Very good. Is there anyone in the audience tonight who came specifically for this meeting and wants to be heard tonight rather than at the continuation of the meeting? I don't see any, so I think it would be appropriate at this time to entertain a motion to continue this until February 11, 2025 at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second,
We have a second motion, roll call vote. Matt,
Yes.
Liz,
yes.
Megan,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. That was the final public hearing on our agenda, and previously we went through the items for discussion, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
We have a seconded motion, roll call vote. Megan,
Yes.
Liz,
yes.
Matt,
Yes.
my vote is yes. That motion passes unanimously. Our meeting is adjourned. Well, good evening and enjoy the rest of it.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a
Right,
good
take
night,
care.
everyone.
Okay, good night.